Hey besties, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Yeah, starting off strong with invading Venezuela. That man is just full of surprises, isn't he? It's good to see y'all. I've been away for 2 weeks now, I guess. Yeah, 2 weeks. And a lot has happened and a lot of decisions have been made. So today's live is mostly me giving y'all updates and a heads up for some of the future, and then a little card pull for the full moon. Because I am very low energy today. I'm very tired. I'm always very tired, but especially today. I did a lot of fitness activities over the weekend, so I'm just dragging a little bit physically, but lots going on. So to start, if y'all follow me on socials, you may have seen that I have made the executive decision to end my LLC, to close my business. So that means I will no longer be doing readings. Um, I am not using the premium version of anything anymore, which is why you can see StreamYard's logo here instead of mine. Um, I still have my Patreon because at least for 2026, my Patreon, with the amount of money that it makes, shouldn't flag the IRS, but it also might. Who knows? So I'll still have my Patreon for posts that I may or may not make every so often, but probably not a lot of that happening. And then what else? Doing lives. I feel like at least for January, because January is peak season at my job and it's going to be very, very busy. And I didn't plan for that very well already by booking more readings, letting people book readings with me in advance before the fiscal year ended, or well, the accounting year ended on the 31st. So I will be busier in January than what I would have actually wanted, which means I may need to conserve my energy on Sundays and not do lives. So I may not do lives for January, but I'll let y'all know for sure. And I'll also let y'all know if I just decide to come on. Anyway, but maybe I'll come back in February. Maybe I stop doing them altogether. I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm not tired of astrology. I love astrology. Astrology is part of my identity at this point. It is who I am. It's how I think. It's how I plan. It's how I understand myself and the world around me. And that's something that I will never let go of, even if I'm not doing it publicly. But doing it publicly and working a full time job that I'm now trying to progress in just feels like a lot of effort that I just don't have, along with the stress of everything else in the world right now. So I don't know what the future of mixed Mercury astrology and astrotherapy really looks like, but I know for now it looks like doing a lot less. So it's really disappointing news, but it also for me honestly feels liberating to some extent. Because it's a lot to keep up with a business if you're not the type of person who really enjoys doing all of that stuff, especially by yourself. I think it was really necessary and very helpful and life-saving for me even over the first years of the pandemic, especially whenever I had to pivot from doing yoga to being self-employed. And I'm really grateful for working with you guys and doing readings with you guys and y'all trusting me with your charts and with decisions you were making in your lives and just collaborating in the ways that we have over the years. Um, but honestly, ever since everything that happened with my previous mentor and just the ways the community has fallen apart and getting injured and going to coaching school and just everything else that's happened, I just feel like I need to not do this for a minute. Um, I need to not do this for a minute. I need to focus on myself. I need to focus on my own nervous system. And I gotta, I need to be working out consistently. I need to work on building my social life in person and developing relationships outside of my immediate family members. And I don't know, just different things need my attention right now. So yeah, I feel tired even just talking about this right now, but I care about y'all and I do feel a sense of like duty and service towards y'all because we've been together doing this for so long. So that's the part that I mostly care about is the community and the online relationships, especially that I've made through doing this work. That's the most important thing to me. The business aspect of it, the money and everything else has always been difficult for me to navigate. So it's not even really about that. It's mostly about you guys. So giving you all a heads up of just where I'm at. It feels very scattered. I'm entering an eighth house year next week on the 14th. And it is a Capricorn year. It's 2 Saturn years ahead of me. And y'all know I'm a Saturn boy, but I haven't had a Saturn year in a long time. And I just don't know. I just don't know what's coming. But I definitely I definitely know I don't want to deal with the IRS as much in the same way in 2027. So in order to not do that, I have to stop in 2026. So that's what I'm doing for now. Besides that, I did finally get on medication and I've been on Prozac now for 3 weeks. Just low dose, 10 milligrams every day. Adjusting to that has been a journey. I'm still adjusting to it because it's only been 3 weeks. Hey, Samaje. Hello. Also, hello to Hart and Sloan and Deb. Um, y'all missed all of my bummer announcements, so you're just gonna have to go back and watch those whenever you rewatch the live. But yeah, I've been on Prozac for 3 weeks. So still technically adjusting to it. It's a little weird. I think on the one hand, the thoughts have slowed down a lot, immensely. So my head feels less cluttered and chaotic. Um, Energy wise, I do physically feel a lot more relaxed. I did get a massage earlier this week. Oh, last week I got a massage. Um, and she even noticed that I'm holding a lot less physical tension, which is good despite still working out a lot. Um, but it also kind of gives me, SSRIs, they kind of give you a little bit of the blahs. I don't feel like a zombie necessarily, but just like the emotional blunting that it does is noticeable whenever you typically run a little bit more hot like I do. Hot's not really the word, but I don't know. My feelings, even though I'm not like an emotionally expressive person, like the physical experience of having feelings is usually a little bit more intense. I tend to be pretty moody and stuff like that. So not being that right now, it feels a little weird. It feels a little boring. It feels a little blah. But that also might change the more that I'm on it. I say it takes like 4 to 6 weeks to really settle into it. So I think that is also part of just the fluctuating energy levels and just kind of acclimating to what's a new normal for me. But in general, it does feel like a net positive so far. Um, and I do physically feel a lot less stressed out. So that's really important for me. And I'm very curious to see how that goes as the longer that I stay on it. Um, my holidays were good. Thanksgiving and Christmas actually were fine. They were uneventful. They were normal, chill. Played a lot of games with my family, and we hung out a lot. So, oh, I've seen the ouchies. I really like those. I have a 3D printed toy that's kind of similar to it that also has a little screw that you can fidget with. But yes, good to know about those. I'm a big fan of physical stimulation. Um, yeah, holidays were good. Um, Everything with my partner is good, great. In fact, I also have been looking at apartments because the apartment I'm in, while it's good quality, I feel like it's decent quality anyway. It is a bit too small for me. So I've narrowed down my search to 2 locations and really to 1 location that I want to move to, but it's slightly more expensive. And I'm trying to decide if that's really a good idea or not because now I don't have extra income coming in on the side. and the economy is a hot mess. My car is a hot mess. My bike is a hot mess. So there's just kind of a lot of expenses coming up that I don't really know how to deal with or how I'm going to deal with just yet. But I have to make a decision this week if I'm going to vacate or not to give my 60-day notice. So that's another big change that may coming up. So there's just kind of a lot going on over here. So yeah, Gemini full moon in my first house and in my lunar return. It's a lot of things going on with winter. Conjunct Jupiter as well, and opposite of Sagittarius stellium, giving me the peak of this Sagittarius 7th house perfection for me. 2025 overall for me was honestly a great year. Like, I haven't had a good year in a very long time, and I feel like 2025 was great. Not at all what I expected from a year ruled by my Jupiter in Scorpio. I've definitely learned a lot about myself. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting to see it ending this way. I feel like it ending this way has more to do with what 2026 and being in an 8th house Capricorn perfection is going to bring me more than anything about the 7th house year. So that's where we're at. But yeah, I want to pull cards for this full moon. I just want to see what the hell is going on. I will tell you this, a little bit of what's been on my mind over the last week or so with this stellium building up and this full moon and everything else. For context, also, as y'all have probably seen in the description, this week is eventful astrologically. We have the full moon today. We have Sun conjunct Venus on Tuesday, both in Sagittarius. Then we will have Venus conjunct Mars on Thursday in Sagittarius. On Friday, we'll have the Sun conjunct, Sun conjunct Mars. That feels a little itchy. On Friday, both in Sagittarius. And then after that, we will have Venus opposite Jupiter. So we'll go from a bunch of conjunctions in Sagittarius immediately into oppositions with Jupiter by the end of the week. So you'll probably be feeling the tension of the Gemini Sagittarius axis this week. And that'll be, again, Venus opposite Jupiter building up to Friday. And then Saturday, we have both the Sun and Mars opposite Jupiter. So yeah, all of that leading up to, I believe, Venus in Capricorn next Monday. So I get to have that lovely beauty in my solar return. And then, yeah, more transits for the rest of the month. So obviously I can't go through all of them because that's going to take much longer time than I want to spend. If you don't have the iCals, I do still have them for purchase in my Patreon shop. Just purchase them from your internet browser instead of through the Patreon app so you can avoid the iOS fees. Yeah, import those into your phone. Keep up with the transits. So yeah, this week feels itchy. It's a completely mutable sky, or at least for the full moon, it was a completely mutable sky, just Gemini, Sagittarius, and Saturn and Pisces. Mutable stuff, of course, is just a bunch of uncertainty. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, this has felt like a lot of uncertainty around what decisions to make, like just around making decisions. It's felt very like just a struggle to see a path forward, or a struggle to see like the uncertainty is very heavy. I definitely really feel that, and it feels like it's hard to move, and it feels like it's hard to narrow down like a set of possibilities that I feel like I want to contend with. And that just always brings me back to this conversation of self-trust. And we've talked about this a lot. We've talked about this a lot over the last year with Jupiter being in Gemini. But it feels like one of those things where you just have to keep repeating it until it really settles in, that a lot of uncertainty is about self-trust. It's a self-trust issue. The question of being like, can I handle whatever is on the other side of the unknown? It's like basically what I boil uncertainty down to. I think for me, uncertainty does feel like a loss of control. And the loss of control is mostly around not having support or help whenever I might need it. I had a conversation with my mom yesterday about this whole moving thing, where I was telling her, I've thought about I've thought about the risk it would be to move to an apartment and a location that I've wanted to live in since I've been in Austin, which has been almost 9 years now. It's somewhere that I've wanted to be. It's a little bit closer to my new relationship, but it's just somewhere that I've wanted to live since I've been here that I never thought I could actually afford to live there. And now I can finally afford to live there right now. I have a full-time job that's stable. Potentially, might get a promotion at some point this year if Astro serves me correctly, and could want more for myself, but all of the practical reasons, all the Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus practical reasons of doing it at this particular moment in time present some challenges, some possible challenges for me with, again, working on my car and not having a side stream of income again. So I have been weighing in my head for the last 3 weeks or so, 3 or 4 weeks, the pros and the cons of doing that. And when I was telling my mom that was feeling pretty close after yesterday, we went and looked at it one more time. I was feeling like, yeah, I think I really want to move here. She starts kind of reminding me of all of these potential consequences and the risk that I would be taking financially doing that because of the uncertainty of this administration, the big bullshit bill, and everything else that could potentially happen, any other unforeseen, out of our control consequences with the economy and with this administration, so on and so forth. And it was frustrating for me for her to say that because one, I am their child. I've already thought about all the practical reasons and all the things that would prevent me from doing this. Um, I've already thought of the quote more responsible, right? The more logical, practical thing to do is to just stay here, pay a little bit less in rent, finish out my loan, take care of everything else I need to take care of, and then move next year. But ultimately, what I would have preferred to get from her instead of all of these practical things is just some level of support, is what I ended up saying. Like some support would be nice, you know. And she's like, "Well, I don't understand what that means. Like, it's your life. You're gonna do what you want to do. If you want my opinion, I can give you that, but that's not what you're asking for." And I was like, "It's not what I'm asking for because I already know what your opinion is, and I've already considered all of these things. I would like support. Support just meaning, it could be anything from encouragement of like, well, you can do this. You'll figure it out. You know, whatever decision you make, we'll have your back if you need us. Let us know what you need. Literally anything, anything." But what I ended up getting was something along the lines of, I don't even know if we'll be able to offer that support to you when you need it. Because I think she took me saying support as in them bailing me out financially if I need them to, which is not what I would ask, not ever what I would ask, because I know how they are. But it was just this kind of thing of like it's every man for himself. Like you are gonna have to figure it out. Good luck, whenever you do. And I was just like, cool. So whenever you're asking me why I don't ask y'all for help and why I don't ask y'all for assistance with things and why I don't tell y'all things, this is why. Because you basically just told me I'm on my own. And in a moment of me literally asking you for support, you don't even know how to give that. So all of that to say, that's just kind of some context for me to say kind of what I'm feeling at this Gemini moon as someone who is a more Mercury dominant person. So all my other Geminis and Virgos and Mercury heavy people will probably understand that feeling of trying to make a decision, trying to make a choice, or trying to deal with uncertainty in some kind of a way and being met with someone who thinks they know better than you, or someone who may very well know better than you just because of being older and having life experience and whatever else. But they think their opinion or their thoughts or their ideas or the information that they have is superior to yours, and therefore you probably don't know what you're talking about. You probably can't make a decision for yourself, and if you make the wrong decision, it's gonna be bad for you, and you should have known better, basically. um that's something I didn't realize. I felt that energy over the last few weeks building up to this full moon, but having that conversation last night really solidified it for me that like that is the thing that I've been battling with making this decision is one, if I make the wrong decision, like how am I going to recover from that if I don't have support? And two, am I even equipped to make this decision, or does somebody know better than me? I need someone to tell me what to do. Somebody tell me what the truth of the situation is. Someone tell me what the right thing to do. So I'm really having to take my own advice in this moment and ask myself, after having Jupiter station retrograde in Cancer and dealing with all of that in that month, and allowing myself, as someone who is very Saturn dominant, Capricorn dominant, like having to ask myself what I want, what my desires are, what things that I actually, not just things that I need, not just the things that practically and logically make sense, beyond necessities. What do I just want for myself? What feels in alignment and in alignment with me, and what feels authentic to me? What are things that I want to move towards and actually like pursue, versus just kind of dealing with what's being handed to me or what's immediately available to me? Because typically how I've lived my life, and as a way to kind of stay in control and to feel, well, not to stay in control, but to feel like I have a sense of control over myself and my life, is to just make the best of what I already have, make the best of what's available to me, make the best of what's being given to me, because then I don't necessarily have to put myself out there and be vulnerable to the risk that comes with pursuing something and not knowing how it's going to turn out once I make those decisions, only to then be left with a choice that I made that is now causing me more suffering than I was already enduring. There's the comfort in the kind of devil, there's the comfort in the familiarity, there's the certainty of what you already know and what you're already experiencing, that makes me at least feel like I have a little bit more control over a situation than maybe I really do. Because ultimately, if there's anything I've learned over the last 5 years of trying to be an entrepreneur, living alone, paying rent alone, and dealing with my parents being within reach, is that there's still a lot of stuff I've had to do on my own, a lot of stuff I had to figure out on my own. And while I didn't do it all alone, and I did have some help in various ways, a lot of it I did have to do alone. And if nothing else, I dealt with emotionally alone. So none of that's new. And in some ways, a lot of that would stay the same whether I moved or didn't move. And now y'all are hearing me talking to myself out loud, but ultimately it's just kind of like, just this question of why I'm so afraid to just go for what I want. Because at the very least, let's say I go through all of this and I'm in this apartment that at some point maybe it gets to be more expensive than I would like for it to be, and I have to make sacrifices elsewhere. At least I would be somewhere that I want to be. At least I would be somewhere beautiful. At least I would be somewhere, hopefully, that is just a little bit more convenient in other ways. I know what I want to do. I do know what I want to do. I'm just really asking myself if I think the potential struggle that comes from it is actually going to be worth it the way that I think it is. Because some of it is also grass is greener. But I want to give that to myself. But yeah, just the uncertainty of life feels very heavy right now, especially financially, going into an eighth house perfection and knowing what the sky is going to look like. So that's kind of where I'm at. And there's something else I wanted to say about that, if I can remember. There's just a little bit of like, because there's so much uncertainty and chaos right now, something I'm thinking about a lot, especially with this ongoing pandemic and everything else. It's like, I feel more and more, I think a lot of other millennials feel this way too. I feel more and more like, one, obviously the future that we were promised whenever we were younger, the whole go to college, get an education, get a good job, this, that, and the other. That's obviously not been true for very many people. Hasn't been true for me. It's taken a while to get somewhere that I actually finally feel stable. And then things keep happening. Just things keep happening in capital letters, and with this administration and the state of the world. And it's like, if we can't rely even on the practical things anymore, then why not fucking enjoy something? I feel like a lot of y'all have been saying this for years now, but As a Capricorn, it's hard for me to get to that point. But I've kind of gotten to that point where I'm like, man, there's so many times where I did take a financial risk and it was worth it in some kind of a way. Buying my mountain bike back in 2021, whenever I didn't have a stable job but was getting unemployment checks, was one of the best decisions I've made. And I've spent so much money on my bike since then, but it's been worth it. The car that I drive definitely costs way more to maintain than what I can actually afford. I've definitely had a lot of help from my parents with that, but I love that car. It's paid off. I want to keep it. I will keep putting money into it if I have to keep it because I enjoy the experience of having that car. I enjoy the experience of riding my bike. I enjoy the experience of living in a nice apartment. And like the other side of it too, especially like the Capricorn of it all, is that I've done the more frugal, practical thing, of living somewhere cheap. I've done the more frugal, practical thing of driving less expensive cars. I've done all of these things. And at the end of the day, there came a point where I had to invest in something that costs a little bit more but was better quality, and it was just worth it. That's something that a lot of you Taurus people have taught me, for sure. You Taurus, especially people who have Taurus and Cancer, yeah, y'all have been really helpful with me on that. Yeah, I don't know, it's just been worth it. The experience of it all has been worth it more than um just having extra money. And like, yes, having money having money in emergencies has also been like having been on both sides of that. Also another thing that is really difficult to contend with, like not having money for emergencies and then just being in a constant paycheck to paycheck struggle and living not knowing living in the uncertainty of not knowing where the money's coming from was also hell on earth. Like, so that is something I do think I'm actively guarding myself against, but um yeah, I don't know. I'm rambling. I'm sharing. Maybe somebody can relate. Maybe y'all can't relate. Maybe you'll relate in the future or you've related in the past, but this is adulting. Adulting as a single adult especially. But I don't know. All that to say, the uncertainty of it all is just mostly mental and mostly emotional, because at the end of the day, every single day, I think my point of what I was trying to say about all of that, where I meant to go with all of that before I got lost in my own thoughts, was that anything can happen any day. Anything can happen any day. And if there's one experience that really fucking taught me that, it was going for a walk one day. I at a Gemini new moon, actually, during my Saturn return, going for a walk and tearing my Achilles because a dog chased after me. There was nothing more random that could have happened to me than that, and it completely changed the trajectory of my life. And while I did suffer for 2.5 years, I ended up here because of that experience. I'm not saying it needed to happen, but it did happen, and I did end up here, and we didn't die. So literally, I feel like, okay, if I maybe just go and do a thing that I want to do, at least I got to have the experience of doing the thing I wanted to do and enjoyed some part of it. And then if I suffer later, I suffer later, because to be human is to suffer. And avoiding suffering begets more suffering, according to the Buddhists. And I do think that they're right about that. So it's just kind of like, yeah, take your good moments when you can take them. Deal with your bad moments when they come up, and know that they're going to come. They're both going to come to you. The good moments are going to come. The bad moments are going to come. And that just is life. But do you trust yourself to navigate them whenever they arise? That's the question. And if you don't trust yourself, ask yourself why. Where does that come from? And what do you need to do to trust yourself more? What needs to happen for you to trust yourself more? Because at the end of the day, like, it is your life and you do have to make decisions for yourself. and you do have to deal with consequences. You don't necessarily always have to deal with them alone, but you do have to deal with them at some point. So, yeah, that's just kind of where my head is at. So I'm going to pull cards. I'm going to pull cards and see what the hell else spirits have to say about this weird ass moment in time. While I'm thinking about it also, there is a post up on my Patreon with some of the significant transits for this year. And if you are already a member, that post is available to you. If you're not a member, you can view a list of all the transits. You just can't see the insights that I gave part 1 about some of those transits. I went ahead and posted what I'd already written, because if I wait until I finish all of my thoughts about 2026, then, you know, it'll never get done. So I was like, let me not let this work just sit in my inbox, because I do actually think it's good to know, good to start thinking about. And then as I have more time and more inspiration of things to write about, or as more things come up, I'll either add to it or just add another post. But started on my 2026 thoughts and insights. But yeah, the list of significant transits, if you'd like to know what we're in for this year, that's up now. Okay, to the elevated and healed ancestors and spirits, thank you for this day. Thank you for my lovely audience and friends here in the chat today. I would just like to know what is in this Gemini full moon for us, and what is on the horizon for us over the next few weeks while we deal with these transits in relationship to this Gemini full moon. How can we best navigate this time? What is the solution forward? What is the medicine for this moment? We give thanks. We're open to receive any messages that you have for us. And so it is. Ashe. Amen. On the bottom, we have the spirit's got a sense of humor. We have the 10 of Wands. 10 of motherfucking Wands. That bag is heavy. Okay. Underneath, we have Ace of Coins in our first position. I don't know that I've seen that card in this deck. Love her. We have 2 of Cups, 2 of Baskets in the center there. That's cute. Love a little 2 of Cups moment. And last but not least, 8 of Coins, 8 of Pentacles. Interesting. Okay. Let me write this in the chat. Ten of Wands. Spread. Ace of Pentacles. 2 of Cups. 8 of Pentacles. Very good. Yeah. All right. Well, right off the bat, 10 of Wands. Very familiar with this card. I haven't pulled this card in a while, so it's interesting to see it here. 10 of Wands, and this is the Black Tarot deck. 10 of Wands talks about carrying a lot. Obviously, we see a person here with not only 10 wands on her head, but a bunch of bags in her hand. Yes, exactly. Bag lady, you gonna hurt your back. What did she say? Carrying all them bags like that. Something like that. Erica Badu, if you don't know. Yeah, we're bag lady right now. The context, the situation is bag lady. 10 of Wands typically means you are carrying more than your fair share. You're carrying sometimes everybody else's burdens, but you're just feeling burdened by a lot of different things right now. And you're trying to hold up the world of the weight of the world on your own shoulders. Um, and yeah, it's weighing you down. Yeah, exactly. Weighing down or holding it down. So it seems that we are 10 of Wands right now. I'm gonna say because there's a Sagittarius stellium right now and Saturn in Pisces as well. Um, it really does feel like carrying the weight of the world. I know something I've said about Sagittarius people before is that I've noticed because of their political, moral, or religious fervor, if you will. Sometimes it does mean carrying just a lot of conviction, yes, but just your morals and your politics and your beliefs and belief systems. Sometimes it feels like you end up carrying and making yourself responsible for way more than just your own problems because of what that might say about you or what it makes you believe about yourself or what you believe about other people with regard to that situation. But there's just a lot that you end up carrying, a lot of burdens based on your own beliefs and your own ideas. And I think with Jupiter and Gemini, there ends up being this thing of, again, we're trying to weigh out or trying to ascertain or just dealing with a whole bunch of different ideas and perspectives and potential meanings, and there's just a lot floating around, a lot juggling around, carrying a lot mentally, physically, emotionally, but we're just carrying a lot right now. 10 of Wands typically means that you need to set something down. Unburden yourself is usually the solution of that card, but let's see what the spread says about the rest of this. So in our situation position, the situation at hand is Ace of Coins, Ace of Pentacles. There is an opportunity of some kind, whether that is financial, material, practical, dealing with something with your body or your health. There's an opportunity or the potential for something to happen and a potential new beginning of sorts. So, I mean, this feels like it's reading me a little bit, but there's some kind of possibility here that you are trying to negotiate with yourself how to move forward, how to proceed with this opportunity. Um, the person in this photo is holding a cowrie shell, I believe. Is that a cowrie shell? No, it's not a cowrie shell. It's a conch shell, right? She's standing in the water, um, holding this shell out. I think it represents something about that potential or that opportunity. I wonder what the tarot deck says. I mean, what the book says about this particular image and what that means. I'm curious. Coins. I'm gonna try to keep this to an hour or two, so let me get into it. Okay. Ace of Coins. We're talking abundance, a new financial or career opportunity. It's talking directly to me, I see. A woman is standing in a body of water, holding up a large cowrie shell. Oh, I was right. The shell indicates a new earthly opportunity. The opportunity will be tangible, created through physical effort and work. It is time to start planting some seeds. A new place to garden is being extended to you. Are you ready to commit to a fresh chance? All right, lower your voice. The Ace of Coins reminds you of your capacity to create, to birth, and to grow, begin to build a foundation to shore up the process of making your dreams concrete. You can attract all you need to make your hopes and goals possible. Tap into being real and centered. Regularly connect with nature to stay grounded. It's successful manifesting, having a strong support system, and fertility. It can also be lack of foresight, bad investments, bankruptcy, overspending, greed, materialism, and miserly energy. So, in alignment, it says to write down your dreams in the present tense as though they've already happened. So, this is really giving a manifestation card. What's funny about that in the line about saying regularly connect with nature to stay grounded is the apartment that I'm looking to move to is literally on a wildlife habitat, certified wildlife habitat. Lots of trees, lots of forest views. It's over in the hills. That's exactly what I wanted. So I think that's funny. But yeah, the shell indicates a new earthly opportunity and it would be tangible, but it is going to require physical effort and work. And I will already say Eight of Coins does have a lot to do with consistent work, working on something and discipline and showing up again and again to your craft. But let's move on to Two of Cups here. Two of Cups here as the obstacle, the challenge, the thing to overcome. Two of Cups is often about reciprocation, matching energy, shared energy, sharing in general, care and support, like we've been talking about as well. It's just kind of saying that you can't do it all alone. And seeing this card right below the Ten of Wands is kind of giving a little bit of unburden yourself by asking for help or support or the care that you need. If the thing that you're concerned with is needing some kind of support or assistance, then why not find it? What's holding you back from that? Is it the fear of burdening someone else? Because yeah, in order to release some of our burdens, sometimes we have to ask somebody else to hold something. And asking somebody else to hold something does mean we have to burden other people with some stuff sometimes. But burdening other people doesn't mean we give them all of our things to carry. Maybe we just give them the things that they can carry, and we find people that we can distribute the load a little bit more evenly. And I think some of it is also, I don't know, Two of Cups also in this moment is kind of seeing it underneath Ten of Wands like that is also just making me think of the ways that we um, maybe can have our own energy, our own resources or whatever it may be leaking out to everyone else and maybe not necessarily getting back what we're putting into things. So that could also be an indication of just needing to set something down or let something go that is burdening you on your own. So for me, obviously, like closing my business is one of those things. And stepping away from doing astro publicly, even if just temporarily, frees up something else that I may not know that I need right now, but I maybe can't arrive at that realization while I'm still carrying everything. It's kind of what this spread is making me think of. And that was another reason too. I did listen to some tropical forecasts by Chris Brennan on the astrology podcast. There's the only tropical astrologer so far that I tend to listen to. And I did listen to my 2026 predictions for them based on my tropical rising sign. And it did kind of line up with a lot of things that I'd seen for myself sidereally. So one of those things definitely had to do with having to put something down in order to make space for something else. And something that I have said about this eighth house perfection for anyone else who is also turning 31 or who is approaching an eighth house year in some kind of a way or has eighth house planets. I don't know if y'all have heard that phrase, you have to give up your old life in order to get a new one. Eighth house is all about exchanges and sacrifices, giving something up in order to gain something else, losing something in order to make space for something else, or just losses that lead to gains. And it's not always a one-for-one transaction, but it's definitely not, it's definitely like you can't carry more when your hands are already full. So seeing the Ace of Coins here is kind of giving me like, there are opportunities, we'll say multiple opportunities that are very real, that are in front of you, but you can't pick them up because your hands are full with all this other bullshit. So what are you still pouring into that maybe is not pouring into you? Where is your energy going that it's not being reciprocated? And how can you instead pick up something that is actually supportive to you? Pick up something that maybe lightens your load. Set down something that you don't need anymore. Pick up something that you do. Move towards something that you do, whether that is a relationship, whether that's emotional support, physical support, spiritual support, financial support, material support, whatever kind of support it is that you need. What do you need to let go of so that you can pick up something else? Right? And then Eight of Coins as the solution, as the way forward. Eight of Coins, it really is about, I mean, you can kind of see here, she is working on her shells. She's working on her craft. She's devoting time and energy and effort into something that she really cares about or that's really important to her, and probably like putting effort into an investment of some sort. Let's say that she is running her own business and she's working on her product, and maybe she says quality is more important than quantity. And so I may have to charge a little bit more for these, but each one was made with love, right? She's not going to just force herself to make more shells. She's going to make the shells that she does have really fucking good and charge what they're worth and make back on her investment instead of doing the capitalistic thing of working more, working harder for less. So let's see what the book says about this Eight of Coins card. Eight of Coins is talking about education and employment. A woman sits at a table, engaging in a variety of forms of divination. Okay. Her passion and soul mission have led her to work on strengthening her connections to her ancestors and their wisdom and knowledge. This card speaks of the energy of giving your all. The woman is cultivating her divination abilities, seeing how her gifts can help her as a light worker who intends to improve the lives of others. Each time she does the same task with regularity and unwavering attention, she moves towards a new level of mastery. Paying meticulous attention to every detail, she finds her work profoundly productive and satisfying. The Eight of Coins is a reminder to carve out time to hone your skills and talents. It's important to move beyond your comfort zone and the limitations you've set for yourself in order to evolve and see your true capabilities. Know that any energy, time, and heart you invest into your development will be worth your while. Production and routine. In the positive, it's talking about production and routine, making money through skilled labor, mastery, and skill development. It's also talking about perfectionism, incompetence, shortcuts, suppression, and lack of inspiration and ambition. So the alignment says to have a personal dance party. So this is obviously very loud. Okay, damn. Basically, it's not a matter of the grass being greener on the other side. It's the grass is greener where you water it. So if you are finding yourself watering dead plants, if you find yourself watering too many yards, if you find yourself wasting water, um, I mean, it is Sagittarius season. It's about being intentional about where you're directing your energy and your energy and where you're directing your energy and your resources and your talents and your skills, and deciding what needs to be watered. Um Deciding what needs to be watered and what's in service of your larger intention, your larger goal for yourself, your larger desire, your larger plan. I think something else that kind of came up for me when I was talking about being meticulous made me think about Virgo, and the advice that I always give to Virgos is that when you're dealing with the uncertainty of what to do next, there's also like a Saturn aspect of the longevity of a project, that the seeds that you plant, going back to this Ace of Coins, like the seeds that you plant at the beginning of the journey, they're not like plants. We're using this garden metaphor, right? The grass being greener where you water it. Like when you first plant a seed and water it, like it doesn't automatically start growing. And it definitely doesn't automatically mature into what its end thing is going to be. And that's part of the self-trust and the uncertainty of it all, is like, do I have the discipline and the routines and whatever else needed, the structure needed to stick with this, to see it all the way through to the end and to kind of tend to it along the way. But I think the struggle that we're kind of seeing here with the Ten of Wands is that there's just too many things in the way of you actually giving the time and the intention and attention to what it is that you actually believe in and want to water, the things that you actually want to grow for yourself and the things that you actually want to produce and manifest for yourself, for lack of a better way to put it. So I think there's a lot here about where is your energy going and why. Where do you need to pull back versus where do you maybe need to pour in more? And trusting that, yeah, anything that you commit to um, is going to yield some kind of result. It may not necessarily look exactly the way that you wanted it to whenever you first planted those seeds, but because you've given your time and energy to it, you're going to learn more about it and become more familiar with it and more intimate with it as time goes on. So it's really more about the commitment, it feels like. The commitment to the um the commitment to the thing, the project, whatever it is that you're investing your time and energy into, and staying committed to it instead of kind of spreading yourself too thin in a sense, or dividing your attention too much, or I don't know, just trying to do too many things. Just there's just so much of this, you're doing too much. Stop doing too much. Do the things that actually reward you for your efforts, reward you for your time and your energy. Because otherwise you're just wasting water, and we are not in a position to waste water anymore. I don't know. What do y'all think? That feels that feels true to me. I mean, it has a little bit of this energy of like anything that's worth doing or anything that's worth having is like gonna require something from you. There's just something about like, I think I'll say this for a lot of the other Saturn people, right? Kind of an irony of being a Saturn ruled person is that we're exhausted all the time from being Saturn people. We're exhausted from the neglect and the being ignored and not having any direction and um having to be the adult all the time and being mature and this and that and all that kind of stuff, and it starts to weigh down on you. It starts to get really heavy. So whenever it comes time to actually like kind of free yourself and move towards something that you do actually want, and realizing the load, the work that it's going to take to overcome and to accomplish all of these things, like sometimes we're just tired and don't want to do it. And sometimes the energy it would take to have something um feels less like expending energy feels less worth it than having the end result thing does, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm phrasing that correctly, but it's just kind of like there's an executive dysfunction to it that's like, oh, the energy that it's going to take to get to this end result just doesn't feel worth it. Even if I really want the thing at the end, I would rather rest, or I would rather be lazy. And I don't think lazy needs to be derogatory. I think sometimes Saturn is lazy because it's like, damn, I don't want to use my energy for that. And I think that's fair. But now that I'm saying this out loud, it does remind me that Mars is going to enter Capricorn next week, and Mars loves to be in Capricorn, and Mars loves to work hard in Capricorn. But Mars working hard in Capricorn is different than Mars working hard in Aries or Mars working hard in some other sign. Mars in Capricorn is like, we have a mission, we have a path to, not a path. Well, yeah, we have a path and we have a method and we have a system to get to this end result, and we're going to grind it. We're going to grind through it. Like, no questions asked. If I have to suffer, I'll suffer, but the end result, we're going to grind towards it. Mars and Capricorn kind of just has that energy. It's very like tunnel vision, locked in. Let's get this shit. Let's get this shit. Let's get this shit. Like, so that happens next week, I think on a Thursday, day after my birthday, if I'm not mistaken. And that might be what this spread is kind of speaking to. But in order to do that, yeah, we can't carry everything. Capricorn is all about making the most with very little, doing the most with the least amount of things. And so sometimes like maximizing your value in that way means like, I don't need all this extra shit. I just need what I need, and we're going to crank it out. So it's kind of giving that. I think, yeah, whenever you're tired, you don't want to do the hard work towards the things that you actually want. But maybe it's less that I was just about to say that, Heart. I was like, I was just about to say, maybe it is really the thing of, yeah, of course you're going to be exhausted and feel like it's not rewarding when you're putting all your energy into something that you don't actually want. You know, you're putting your energy and effort into something that somebody else thinks is the best thing for you, or that somebody else wants for you, or that somebody else sees for you and thinks is a good idea for you, that they have your best interest in mind. And maybe that's true, but I think it just makes it feel more exhausting when it's not actually something that you want to do, when it's not actually something that you want for yourself. I think there's a lot to be said for alignment, and this is something I think at this phase of my spiritual journey, entering into this 8th house year, that I'm really like, this feels like a moment of me really leaning into what alignment means for me and experimenting and exploring what that is. And doing a move when I don't necessarily need to move, but moving somewhere that just feels more like me brings me closer to myself. Maybe that ends up being more energizing and more motivating than just kind of settling for good enough all the time, you know? Maybe it's exhausting to settle. I don't know. But that's the thing. I'm not going to know until I do it. So, to come back to the Gemini of it all, I guess there's some curiosity needed towards yourself, towards your own desires, towards the things that you want, towards the things that you believe in. Ask yourself why you believe that. Ask yourself what's possible if I do this or if I don't do this. Yes, there are these potential outcomes, but what about these outcomes? How can I move more towards these outcomes? I don't know. There's some flexibility needed here that I think usually Sagittarius maybe struggles a little bit with flexibility, especially mentally. When you just really believe in something or have your sights set on something, um, maybe there's just a little bit more openness needed, a little bit more perspective needed, a little bit more broadening needed to see things a little bit more clearly through your own eyes versus through somebody else's. So, um, yeah, I really feel that heart. Tired of putting energy into things that I don't want to do and not putting energy into things I do want to do. Kind of what the spread is giving. So, if you have an opportunity, take it. Put down things that are not giving back to you so that you can take that opportunity, make the most of it, and know that it is going to take some hard work, but the work is rewarding because you want to be doing it. So, right at 1 hour. Those are my thoughts. I guess I really needed to hear that. We're gonna figure it out, guys. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be different this time. I love that. You know what? It's 2026, y'all. New year, new me. Right? Let's do something different and see where it takes us. For the spirit of adventure, for the spirit of learning something new, even if the only thing we learn new is about ourselves. And I especially love what this 8 of Coins said. I think it was 8 of Coins. Let me find that line one more time. It said, it's a reminder to carve out time. Wait, no, it wasn't this one. Oh, yeah, it is this one. It's a reminder to carve out time to hone your skills and talents. It's important to move beyond your comfort zone and the limitations you have set for yourself in order to evolve and see your true capabilities, which is very Mars, by the way. Know that any energy, time, and heart you invest into your development will be worth your while. So I will leave us on that word. I think that's a good word to end on. I think that's a very helpful, very straightforward spread considering ones that we've had previously. I hope this is helpful to you. It was definitely helpful to me. And thank y'all also for just holding space for me and letting me think and talk out loud about how the last few weeks have been for me. That was really helpful just to hear myself kind of talk and think out loud with you guys. I hope that hearing my stories and my struggles resonate for you and help you along whatever it is that you're dealing with at this full moon. And yeah, for those who are just joining, I mentioned at the start of this live that I don't know how lives are going to be in January because January is our busiest season at work with new students. And I already have more readings booked than what I originally planned for this new season. So I just may simply not have the energy for lives. This may be one of my 10 of wands things that I just have to set down for the month of January. Um, I don't wanna stop doing them. I don't want to stop doing them, but just know that if for whatever reason today ends up being the last live that I did, um, it wasn't an easy decision to make, and I probably feel some level of guilt about it, and that I really will miss y'all. But if I just do it for the month and I come back later, or if I just come back on every so often to talk to y'all, even if that's on like an Instagram live or something, just know that I want to talk to y'all. I'm just trying to figure out how to balance my life out. So, um, Jim, I saw that you also asked when I ended my business. At, I technically ended it on the first because I'm trying to not have to deal with LLC and S corp taxes in 2027. It's not worth the stress for the amount of money that I make doing it because it's not what it was for me. I have something else that supports me. I'm still invested in astrology. I just don't know what doing it publicly looks like, if doing it publicly is what I need to be doing anymore. But I will always be an astrologer. Um and I love y'all sincerely. Like, I can't tell you what doing this work and having you guys be a part of it has meant to me. So hopefully this is not goodbye. It's just until I have more energy and bandwidth to figure out what to do next. But yeah, mixed Mercury forever. But if I don't see y'all again, just know it wasn't an easy decision. But I will try my best to be back, whether that is next week or in February. Wish me a happy birthday though, please, on January the 14th. Shoot me a DM. Shoot me a DM, and I'll still be on social media more or less too. So we'll see what happens. I'm open to wherever this is all going. So I hope that I see y'all on the other side. Oh, I'm sad. Okay, well, I will see y'all when I see y'all next. I will keep you posted on whatever I decide to do. I'm still on Patreon, like I said, for the time being, at least for 2026. And if that ends at some point too, that ends at some point too. I just don't want to make y'all any promises and then end up disappointing you again. So we're all in the uncertainty together. But I'm gonna really take this spread seriously and just fucking see what happens. And we will meet again at some point. So y'all have a wonderful Sunday, a beautiful start to your new year, and I will talk to y'all soon. All right. Bye.